It's 8 o'clock on Friday, June the 30th, and today I'm in the unusual position of going on an organised tour. That's not something I do that often, but today I'm making an exception. My guide today is the famous, well, locally famous in Cabrieres d'Avignon, the local dignitary as well, Robert Turnbull.
Oh, thank you, Jeremy. What an introduction.
Note the differing cycling styles that we adopt on this tour. What's the tour called?
This is Roussillon Ramble. 12th century church.
12th century.
12th century church, yes.
Yeah.
That's about all I know of it.
Well, I'm very impressed with Rob's knowledge of the local area. His knowledge knows no bounds.
So just to put some meat on the bones there, Jeremy, on the historical aspect, this is a grave here, 6th century. It was a man here called Lecto, who died on the 20th of December. So obviously these people must have been somebody important to have a big grave like this chiselled out of the rock for them. Here in Saint Pantaleon, the 12th century church.
Action.
So we're looking at Gordes up there, one of the many hilltop villages in this region. This is probably one of the most well-known ones and certainly attracts a lot of tourists. But we're looking at the chateau up there and the church. There's a bell right at the top there, you can see the chateau. This is a field of lavender, as you can see, and there's a lot of lavender grow around this area. And there's two types. There's a natural one, which I think this is, and there's a hybrid. The hybrid grows at higher altitudes. I'm going to stop just on here.
So we've just stopped by this hole in the rock. So what's the significance of this rock, Rob?
Isolated rock. It's all many millions of years ago. All of this area was underwater, and there was a change in the land levels, and the water levels dropped. And a lot of these rocks that we see here is mainly sand. So the sand with kind of clay kaolin in it, different oxides. You can see some of the red here.
So we're now in Roussillon, and we're going to stop in this little boulangerie.
Okay.
He's making butter biscuits.
Here we are at the overlook in Roussillon. We've just had a delightful coffee and croissant, and now we're looking out at the ochre formations here. This is the start of the breakfast.
So Rob, those acute edges, how did they form?
Well, it was a combination of wind, rain, temperature differences, and of course the composition of the stone is different as it's laid down over millions of years. So all that leads to this etching effect that you see.
It's a load of bollocks, isn't it, Rick? You just made all that up. So here we are on the ochre trail, which is where the ochre comes from, and in these rocks it's 80% sand and 20% ochre. So here's the sand, and if I scratch away you can see the much darker ochre coming through. So this is the hilltop town of Roussillon, and whilst we were in the bakery, the lady there said that obviously it's very busy in the summer, but in the winter only 30 people live here. Soon find out.
Well, here we are back on the road again, going down to Pont Julien, which is an old Roman bridge, part of the main highway between Spain and Italy.
Well, this is the Pont Julien, and it was originally a Roman bridge, but most of the structure was washed away. I have been corrected by my guide. This is the original, or one of the original Roman roads.
This was a Via Domitia which connected Rome with the Iberian Peninsula, and this is the bridge, one of the bridges there. So Jeremy was right, there was an original sort of wooden bridge to begin with, which got washed away, and then this one was built. So we're looking now at the village of La Coste, and you can see right at the top there is the chateau which used to belong to the infamous Marquis de Sade in the Middle Ages. The village was largely abandoned when Pierre Cardin came along and bought up a lot of it and established the Savannah School of Art there, actually in conjunction with the Savannah School of Art in Georgia. He's a bit of a love-hate figure, but I think he saved the village from abandon. And the label, the clothes label, comes from here, Lacoste.
Well, we've just arrived in the outskirts of La Coste, and we're just contemplating whether this particular image here was the inspiration for the logo. Okay, we're in the middle of La Coste at the top of the hill, and we're just making our way up through this arch. Okay, we're in the middle of La Coste, and we're just about to walk up to the chateau through this arch and up this old street. So this is the infamous Marquis de Sade at the top of La Coste, and this is the chateau, or what remains of it, and then looking down over the countryside
Towards Apt and Saturn is Apt. Other part of his anatomy.
No, don't hang on to anything else.
No. Tree of life. Arbre de la vie. Arbre de la vie.
So now we're cycling back to Cabriere along the old railway line. Well, we've just stopped by this dry stone wall that actually Robert helped build.
Yep. With a few others last September. Bit of a ongoing project, but we've got 5 metres done here and 2 metres around the corner, and it wasn't bad as the first attempt.
And it surrounds a little chapel here.
Yeah. So we've got, as you can see, a little bit more to do yet.
A bit more from there, right the way down to the end.
Yeah. And around the corner and up along there.
So the wall that Robert built is surrounding the Chapel Saint Eusebe, which is obviously disused, but hopefully. Okay, after 36 miles, we have finished.
Fantastic.
So thank you, Rob, for a wonderful tour of Roussillon.
And the environs. It was great to be able to cycle with you.
Me too.